Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Shadow and Sun Show. Today I'm going to be reviewing a little piece of miniature gaming history along with some John Carter history, published in 1977 by the greatest miniature company ever to exist. That would be Heritage Miniatures, of course. This is, honestly, it's almost a role-playing game, but it's missing a few little elements. But at the same time, technically, it kind of is a role-playing game. You make up characters, you go on adventures. The only thing missing is experience levels and any sort of treasure, I suppose, like random tables for treasure. There's plenty of monsters, plenty of weapons, plenty of lore from the world of Barsoom. In case you can't read it, this is the adventure gaming book. Hold on. I guess it would technically be called Edgar Rice Burroughs' John Carter, Warlord of Mars, Adventure Gaming Book. Now this little book is mighty 63 pages, 62 pages. The last page is almost blank. But believe it or not, this bad boy goes for about $150. Fortunately, I didn't have to pay half that much back in the day when I got it, which was a long time ago. I've had it in my collection for decades, literally, and it's still in pretty good condition, mostly because I've never been able to do anything but just read it a couple of times and fart around with, some, mock battles between a friend of mine a long time ago. It has rules for airship combat, hand-to-hand combat. One of the most charming aspects of this book is I'm going to call it the Princess Point system, where most of the adventures revolve around rescuing the princess, first meeting her, and then she gets into some sort of sticky situation, and you and a bunch of soldiers or Martians or whatever have to go and rescue her, and depending on your character and certain little aspects along the way will determine whether or not she falls in love with you. Of course, if she does, she'll never tell you until the end of the game or the end of the campaign, as per most John Carter and Edgar Rice Burroughs books. The culmination of the romance usually doesn't happen until the very end, which just keeps you guessing. And it's not much different than real life love stories here on Earth, but the way they went about it, ranking you with points and whatnot, it is really kind of, I'm just going to call it charming. I know it's a bit silly, but mind you, this was written in 1977, which I can't wait to go into, I think, next week, how wonderful a year 1977 was. But this is just one more thing on the pile that made 1977 just an absolute stellar year. Hint, hint. It's I'm going to say it's better than the previous book, the Warfare of Barsoom. Mind you, it only came out 2 years later, and for the most part, because it's made by Heritage Miniatures, it's really a supplement to the John Carter Warlord of Mars lead miniature line, which to this day is still one of the most expensive and the most sought after lines of lead miniatures from back in the day. I really hope that if you guys have this, you'll chime in, and let me know your opinion. For those of you who do not have it, there's but a few copies on eBay, and like I said, they're about $150. There are some other versions of this with a monochrome color, I think green and blue and red. But speaking of covers, I can't skip over the fact that this artwork is just atrocious. I mean, it's god awful. It's not as bad as the previous book's artwork, but the perspective and just some of the details, the haircut is just it's just awful. Yeah, even the little guy behind the camera, he can't help but notice how bad this haircut is. Not as bad as mine, of course, but it's just 1970s all the way. Uh, but I'm really glad I have this in my collection. I recently just reread it and finished it last night, and it's it's actually a humorous read. The individuals who wrote this, I don't know who wrote this. Michael S. Matheny. He apparently had a really good sense of humor and really went above and beyond to capture the spirit of Barsoom and the John Carter Warlord of Mars saga. As you guys know, this is just one of my favorite intellectual properties out there. It's always going to be. I can't see anything coming close. Mostly just because of the fact that the first John Carter book came out in like 1912, and if you guys are familiar with old school classic novels of fantasy and science fiction, this was the king. There's very few things that went into detail, for a time that there almost wasn't any science fiction, other than some pulps and things like that. Long before rocket ships and shuttles and ray guns. I want to say he's the originator of so many of those tropes, and I really hope you guys who have this or who want to get it will give it a quick read through and get back to me, because I love sharing things, and sharing John Carter with anybody is just makes my week. So until later on tonight, where I'll be over at Ten Cars Tavern and then hanging out with Bruce Lombardo. I hope you guys have a great weekend. And I want to give a special shout out, because I forgot to mention Cigar DM. Connell, you are one of the greats out there. I hope you guys will go check out Cigar DM's YouTube channel. He's just starting out, but he's a great guy, along with all the other guys from the Table Breakers and the Gatekeepers. Please give these guys a sub, because they've done so much for us that I want to play it forward and give them shout outs, and I'm going to continue to do so until we turn off the lights here. So again, have a great weekend. We love you guys, and we'll see you real soon.